Of all the legendary structures of the ancient world, none is more shrouded in romance and mystery than the Hanging Gardens of Babylon, the first of the canonical 7 wonders of the ancient world. To be conceived, they were said to be a verdant, artificial mountain, cascading with exotic flora in the heart of the Mesopotamian desert. And behind this masterpiece of botanical ambition stood a king driven by a powerful human motive, love. This is the story of Nebuchadnezzar II, the Babylonian king who allegedly built the first world wonder to cure his queen's homesickness. The king, the queen, and the homesickness. To understand the gardens, one must first understand the king. Nebuchadnezzar II r. 605 to 560 to BCE was the most powerful ruler of the Neo-Babylonian Empire. He was a formidable military strategist, a master builder, and a ruthless conqueror who famously sacked Jerusalem and deported the Jewish elite in the Babylonian exile. Under his reign, Babylon reached the zenith of its power and splendor, becoming the largest city in the world. His empire was cemented through a strategic political marriage to Amadis of Media, a princess from the mountainous, green lands of modern-day Iran, according to the legend. Recorded centuries later by writers like Diodorus Siculus and Strabo, Amadis found the flat, sun-baked plains of Babylon to be a bleak and oppressive landscape. She longed for the fragrant forests and rolling hills of her homeland. Seeing his queen wither in the urban desert, the great king was moved. In an unparalleled act of devotion, Nebuchadnezzar conceived of a project that would defy nature itself. He would bring the mountains to her, the masterpiece of engineering, a paradise in the desert. The Hanging Gardens were not just a collection of potted plants. They were an extraordinary feat of engineering that would have challenged even the most modern architects. Ancient descriptions paint a picture of a structure built alongside the king's grand palace. Likely near the Euphrates River, the gardens were constructed as a series of ascending terraces, perhaps reaching as high as 75 feet, to support the immense weight of the soil, trees, and water. The terraces were made of massive stone beams, a material rarely used in Babylon, which was built primarily of mud brick. To prevent water from seeping through and rotting the structure, the layers were aligned with reeds, bitumen, and sheets of lead. The greatest challenge, however, was water. How do you get water to the top of a man-made mountain and keep it alive? The Babylonians devised a sophisticated system, likely using a chain pump. This device, often called a shadf on a larger scale, consisted of a continuous chain with buckets that would draw water from the Euphrates, carry it to the top terrace, and then be released to cascade down, irrigating every level. The result was a lush, green oasis that bloomed in the middle of the arid landscape, a true hanging paradise. The great mystery: did it even exist? For all its legendary status, the Hanging Gardens of Babylon possess a deeply troubling secret. There is no definitive archaeological evidence that they ever existed. Excavations at the site of ancient Babylon have revealed the magnificent Ishtar Gate, the vast processional way, and the foundations of the colossal Etemeniki ziggurat. But the location of the Hanging Gardens remains elusive. No trace of the massive stone foundations or the complex irrigation system has ever been found where ancient texts claim they stood. This has led historians and archaeologists to propose several theories. They were a myth. The gardens may have been a purely literary invention, a fantasy created by later Greek writers who embellished the splendors of the golden city of Babylon. They were misidentified. Perhaps what writers described were not hanging gardens at all, but the lush, terrace gardens of the royal palace, which were impressive but not the wonder of the world. They were in the wrong place. The most compelling theory, championed by Dr. Stephanie Daly, suggests the gardens were real, but they were built in Nineveh, the capital of the Assyrian Empire, by King Sennacherib a century earlier. Sennacherib left detailed descriptions of an elaborate garden with a water-raising screw, an Archimedes screw-like device that perfectly matches the descriptions of the Hanging Gardens. The theory posits that later Greek and Roman writers conflated the two great Mesopotamian cities, attributing Assyrian achievements to their more famous Babylonian successors, a legacy beyond the gardens. Whether the gardens were a physical reality or a wonder of literary imagination, the story of Nebuchadnezzar's love for Amadis has endured for millennia. It transforms a formidable conqueror into a romantic figure, a man willing to move mountains for the woman he loved. Yet, Nebuchadnezzar's true legacy is secure, even without the gardens. He was the builder who made Babylon a city of unparalleled magnificence. He fortified it with impregnable walls, decorated it with gleaming blue glazed bricks depicting dragons and bulls, and restored the great ziggurat as a stairway to the heavens. In the end, the Hanging Gardens of Babylon serve as a powerful metaphor for human ambition and the desire to create paradise on earth. And at the center of that myth stands King Nebuchadnezzar II, a ruler whose real achievements were so grand that they inspired the world to believe he could and would build a monument to love that touched the sky.